Hello and welcome back to another video with me, Petrus, and today I'll be going over how to tell if you're falling behind. So this is going to be very targeted towards KvK1 specifically. Now, something I've noticed on my restart is a lot of people are looking at whales and people that are, already 20 million power when everyone else is at 2, and they're saying I'm so behind. Now, you may be. That's the point of this, is we're going to look at it. We're going to talk about it. So another thing you see is a lot of people get tier 3 immediately and really quick, and then they think they're ahead, but give it another 3 days and they're behind. So what happens there? So the first thing I want to talk about is the issue of falling out of the top 1 to 3-ish alliances, right? You really want to be in a spending alliance, an active alliance that's one, going to get the right structures and right tech because they know what they're doing, as well as giving you chests to grow stronger, obviously. And then the other thing there is also you need activity, and some of these lower alliances may not be rotating members, which is a huge issue. Now, in regards to the tier 3 comment I made earlier, what I wanted to talk about is that a lot of people don't really push with a good plan. So they may not have, any reasoning behind their doing it. It's just, I need the next tier, so let's push it. Now, I want to say, did you do your engineering tech? Did you do your mathematics tech, right? Like, these are things that are saving you days and days of speed ups. And most kingdoms, you're probably not fighting in the very beginning. Or if you are, only the whales should be because free to play don't really have the speed ups to waste. So with that said, you want to reduce your costs as early and as fast as possible. I, for instance, am still finishing my last tier 3 on my restart, but I have my engineering and mathematics a lot further than most people probably do, even though I'm free to play. So along similar lines to what I said earlier, when it comes to KvK itself, you don't want to think you're ready just because you have things. So what do I mean? Just because you've unlocked tier 4, just because you have the right commanders, it doesn't mean that you're in a good position necessarily. You don't need just tier 4. You need the tech to give it the buffs that it needs to fight, right? I would be curious to see how a bare minimum tier 4 with no buffs after that perform against even a free to play with their commanders and gear with those tech. And I think the answer is relatively obvious that having the buffs of, several percentage of health, attack, and defense is going to make the free to play win in that example. And similarly, right, with like having a reasoning behind what you're doing, just because you're doing the right commanders doesn't also mean you know what you're doing. And what I mean by that is you have to have a reasoning. You may say, well, everyone keeps telling me Sun is a good commander, so I'm going to upgrade Sun. But just because he's a good commander, are you doing the right thing? Because what you may be supposed to do is Bjorn, right? You may be having to level Bjorn up because you're supposed to Bjorn Sun in a pair, not Sun Bjorn, right? So you may think, oh, I know what I'm doing. I was told Sun's great. But in reality, you didn't level it properly because you weren't supposed to level Sun really at all, to 30, right? Get all the skills, etc. But still, it's the same thing with structures. It's when you're upgrading, if you're upgrading your scout camp, you're doing it because you're saying, hey, I know I need it for the next city hall right after this one, and so I'm doing it despite not needing it now. That would be a reasonable thing if you're waiting for like your city hall to be done, for instance, to get to that next tier, or even a wall or something, right? So these are the things where you really want to have a method to the madness, I think is the best way I could say it. And then again, along the lines of like tier 4 or tier 3, whatever, you need the troop count, right? Like, you can have tier 4 of every type unlocked. That's great. But at the end of the day, if you can't feel the march of it, that's literally worthless. It's literally worthless. It's like a month of speeds for nothing if you don't have enough to field. And so you want to also be planning that. You want to plan your training speed ups to enable you to fight properly with the right marches, not only the right, unlocks, right? But the right marches itself. And then the last thing I want to talk about, just relatively quickly, is you want to be able to estimate roughly how many resources or speed ups you're going to need for fighting, right? Of course. So if you enter KvK with 10 days of speed ups and 10 million of each resource, you're not even going to last one real heal, right? Like one full heal. You'll be out. And so what you want to do is you want to be able to roughly estimate this by both the amount of marches you're fielding. If you're fielding one march, it's going to be very different than if you're a five marcher, right? And for at least KvK1, the troop type. It's very important to note what the troop type uses. Infantry uses different food, wood, stone, right? All these use different materials, sorry, different resources than other types. If you're an archer main, you're going to need more wood and stone than, say, a cavalry main, because a cavalry main's relying more on food than stone, or rather food than wood, right? Like you get the idea. And then along the same lines, not only is it troop type, but it's obviously troop tier. If you're tier 5, your stuff costs so much more, especially for gold, right? And that hurts bad. And so you want to be able to have a plan for how you're healing, whether it's tier 5 or tier 4. Obviously, KvK1, it's going to be tier 4 for most of you. So let's plan that appropriately. Now, again, the idea behind this video is how to tell if you're falling behind. If you don't know any of this, unfortunately, you're falling behind. If you don't have the right commander plan, if you don't have the right resource and speed up plan, you need to be able to estimate this to invest properly. And if you're not investing properly, each day you mess up is you falling behind, right? Each day you're not in that top 1 to 3 alliance, getting gold chest, getting silver chest, getting 500 VIP, getting 2000 VIP, getting gems, getting 15 hours of speed ups. Even if you're just getting garbage like credits, right? Like enough credits mean you can get more teleports. All these things, even if they're more worthless, are meaningful and impactful for you. And that's the thing you just want to understand is that everything adds up. It's that whole hoarder mentality we have in this game. You don't want to fall behind just because you're not doing something you think is small. Like, hey, I'm in a top 5 alliance. I'm great. No, it's realistically, and I should have said this earlier, it's not just about the numbers, right? It's also about, is their gift level good? Are they active? Are they rallying forts constantly? All these things, right? And just because, maybe you had a Kraken whale up there and he's doing great, but he's no longer spending because he's waiting for KvK, and the whole alliance is dead waiting for him to do that, right? You may want to see, is there a better place for me to spend my time right now? Is there an alliance that's going to have constant forts that I can join? Forts give a lot of resources. Everyone needs that, whether you're a whale or a free to play, right? And so all these things you just want to consider and know what you're doing, because each day you're not doing them is when you're falling behind and making a mistake. And so with all that said, I hope this was beneficial and helped you learn something. If you feel like it did help you, please leave a like on this video. Feel free to subscribe. I come out with daily content, and I'm more than happy to keep banging out these videos every single day as long as you guys feel you're getting value out of them. Thank you for watching.